Welcome to the Plant-Free MD podcast with Dr. Anthony Chafee, where we discuss diet and nutrition and how this affects health and chronic disease, and show you how you can use this to optimize your health and happiness, both mentally and physically. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Plant-Free MD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Anthony Chafee, and today I have a very special guest, Miss Valerie Smith, who is joining us to tell us about her story coming to the carnivore diet and her health journey. Valerie, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
I'm so honored to be here. This is a dream come true for me. You're such a large part of my life, and we've never met, so it's an absolute honor to be able to be here and talk to you.
Oh, well, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for coming on. So, Valerie, for those who haven't come across you before, can you tell us a little bit about you?
I sure can. My name is Valerie Smith, and I am 54. I am now healed, well, and strong. A metabolic health coach that comes alongside those that are seeking vibrancy and seeking health. But I haven't always been this way. I have only been this way for 7 years. Prior to that, I was very, very ill, and I spent 48 long years of my life in extreme illness.
And so, what sort of illnesses were you going through at the time?
All the way back to being a toddler. I don't have any memories of ever being well. And so as a toddler, I was plagued by anxiety and depression and diagnosed with those. By the time I was an early adolescent, I had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and anorexia. And then coping with all of that as a young teen, I was then diagnosed with OCD, and that turned very violent as self-harm. And I was engaging in activities of cutting my arms and legs, and trichotillomania, which is hair pulling. I was pulling my scalp hair and eyebrows and eyelashes. So plagued by panic attacks, clinical depression, OCD, schizophrenia, and anorexia. They're very devastating 6 mental illnesses that started very, very early in life. I don't have any memories of ever being sane or ever being well.
Yeah, wow. So that was going on for throughout your adolescence, but also throughout most of your adult life until you said 7 years ago. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. It was unlivable. I began to get to the point of just wanting to go to sleep and not wake up anymore. Sleep was the only escape from the paranoid delusions and the voices that would scream at me to harm myself and to harm others. These voices that would tell me to drive off an overpass, that people were talking about me, that I needed to take out my family in order to stay safe. The voices told me that certain foods were poison, and if I ate them, that I would die. And then sometimes it would switch and tell me that I should eat them and that I should die. It was just a horrible, horrible existence. And all of this time, up until the time in my 40s, I was under traditional treatment. I wasn't just managing this on my own. I had care team after care team that had me under 3 or 4 psych meds for a total of 12 to 15 over the course of those years. I was in and out of treatment centers. I was in and out of mental wards. I had feeding tubes trying to bring my weight up from 70 pounds using the tube feed ingredients of canola oil and high fructose corn syrup and soy 6 times a day. I've been through it all. I've had a dozen psychiatrists that over the course of 3 decades would fire me and tell me not to come back, that I was treatment resistant and you aren't going to get any better and you just have to accept this. I did everything over and over and over again of what you're supposed to do, what you're told to do to eventually get help and to be well. And none of it ever made a reduction in my mental illnesses. None of it ever changed anything. I just continued to get worse.
Oh, and oh, is that so a bit of feedback? I don't know what that was there. Okay. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. That sounds awful. Were you, what was life like at the time? Were you able to work? Did you have family that were helping you? But how did you just live a day-to-day life? I mean, like you said, it's unlivable. It sounds unlivable. It sounds absolutely horrible. What was your day-to-day life? Were you able to hold down a job, have a family, and interact with people at least somewhat normally in your daily life?
Each decade got more difficult. My teen years, I spent in and out of treatment centers and just trying to catch up at school when I'd be gone for 6 or 8 weeks, trying to manage my family that was distraught over me teetering around 100 pounds at 5'9" and not knowing what to do to help me, seeing me go downhill and not be able to stay in touch with reality, and also the self-starvation. That was difficult for me and for my family. In my 20s, I attempted to go to college and I finally had to drop out after 2 years. I spent all of my energy trying to be perfect and trying to get good grades, which I did, but my health suffered even further. And the colleges the health clinics were alarmed and encouraging me to take a leave of absence, that I wasn't going to survive. And I wasn't. My dorm mates were finding me blacked out in the shower.